is Wednesday. I think we're on the 19th of February, right? And we're talking about the menstrual cycle. We're doing a little review for chapter 41. And we placed this, or I placed this on the board. I gave the kids about 5 minutes to answer 10 questions. That was kind of our warm-up activity. And now we're just going to check for engagement in the classroom. So if we look at this menstrual cycle, show me with your fingers, how many ovarian hormones are we looking at in here? Excellent. How many pituitary hormones are we looking at in here? Tell me on 3 what is taking place in the middle of the menstrual cycle on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Ovulation.
Very good. And what day on 3, 1, 2, 3?
14.
Excellent. How long is the length of this menstrual cycle on 3, 1, 2, 3?
28 days.
So be careful there. So meaning that if I'm talking menses, you would say how many days on 3, 1, 2, 3?
7.
Very good. So now let's just start on the bottom. We'll work our way up here. Okay? We know that we are shedding. So when you go to the doctor, right, the doctor's going to ask you what was day 1. Day 1 is the first day of what on 3, 1, 2, 3? Menses. Spotting. That was a term that we didn't understand in one of our presentations. Spotting. Turn and tell your neighbor what spotting means. Mr. Lepp, what did your neighbors tell you about spotting? It's always interesting to hear from a male perspective. Go ahead.
They didn't tell me anything.
What do you mean we didn't tell you?
I mean, you didn't tell me anything.
All right, strike one.
We don't know what this table is
Make sure you get that on camera.
No, you didn't.
Annika, what did your neighbor or table mates tell you about spotting?
It's like not a heavy flow, it's just like inconsistent.
Very good. Again, there's going to be some coloration there. All right. Now, think about this. We know that how many layers do we have of that uterus? Show me with your fingers so that the camera can count you. Very good. We have the epi, the myo, and the endo. Which one are we looking at here on 3, 1, 2, 3? This is our endometrium, correct? So we look, we're shedding, and then we're building. Does anybody have any questions on the numbers, meaning the dates? We've already went through 1 through 7. We went through 14. Realistically, 21 just showing us in between, and 28 being the full length, total time. We then talked about the uterine cycle here, where we're basically shedding that endometrium, which is about 1 to 5 or 1 to 7. We are then building, preparing for what word on 3, 1, 2, 3? What word on 3, 1, 2, 3? Implantation. Menses only takes place if there's no implantation. You guys good with that? Remember we talked about, what did we talk about? We talked about some shuns, right? We talked about fertilization. We talked about implantation, copulation. Everybody kind of remember that? Turn and talk to your neighbor real quick about what were the 4 things that we should have probably put on the board yesterday. Fertilization, ovulation. Conception. Time. What would be the last one from yesterday on 3, 1, 2, 3? Implantation. Generally, we're going to have to ovulate. So let's take a look here. So first of all, one of the most missed, just give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Girls can get pregnant during their cycle, during menses. Let's just go with that. And there's the word right there, so you're not confused. Give me a yes, no. Girls can get pregnant during menses. No way in the world, guys. Is there an egg there? No, there's no egg. Here's the egg. And it's truthfully not an egg, if you remember to that quiz question. One of the most missed questions. Technically, that's not an egg, right? We talked about this because it was the Jeopardy. Did we not talk about this? Right? Maybe there's an O there, nice spelling spell. Make sure you get that on camera. Right? That is a diploid cell, correct? These aren't diploid cells. This is technically a secondary what on 3, 1, 2, 3? Oocyte, absolutely. Technically. That's a haploid number. Show me with your fingers what a haploid number means. Yeah, you get 23 from mom and you get 23 from dad. Fertilization creates a zygote, which has a total number of how many on 3, 1, 2, 3? 46. Remember, my little guy's got 47. Okay. So let's go down here. Again, you already told me that there were 2 ovarian. We already know that this is going to be crossed out, and there's probably going to be a letter here. That's already, the book's assuming that you know that these are ovarian hormones. We know that we keep the E's together. We see estrogen. We know that estrogen is for the development of the what on 3, 1, 2, 3? Egg. I keep the E's together. You're making that guy. That's what that ovarian hormone is doing. Progesterone is given to you. Probably not on the test. We know progesterone promotes pregnancy. We keep the P's together. Turn and tell your neighbor what would happen here if implantation happened down there. Turn and talk. In a normal cycle, we have a drop in progesterone, which would cause the shedding of the uterine lining. If we have implantation, what has to stay up here? Progesterone levels. Now take it one step further. Who's going to keep the progesterone levels high before the placenta? Very good. So all of a sudden I see this guy, and it might have a letter D next to it, and it asks you what this endocrine structure is. It's considered an endocrine structure because it secretes what on 3, 1, 2, 3? Hormones. And who is this again on 3, 1, 2, 3? Point to where you can see it in the board or around here somewhere. Absolutely. We've talked, that's the endocrine poster. I see it right there. It's even yellow. Now the high end one, what pituitary gland secretions, don't tell me, just thinking, what pituitary gland secretions cause the disintegration of the corpus luteum? So it's a 50-50 shot. Because there's only, you already told me, there's only 2 pituitary gland secretions, right? So one more time, what pituitary gland secretions cause the disintegration of the corpus luteum? Turn and tell your neighbor. Tell me on 3, 1, 2, 3. LH. Then I go back to this. Kind of a derivative of LH is the one used in home pregnancy kits. Huh? This guy, right here. What hormone is used in home pregnancy kits? Turn and tell your neighbor.
It's CG. It's something natural, and I can never remember what the C is.
I think that's it. It's like, it's a, yeah.
Is that you?
Give me the abbreviation on 3, 1, 2, 3.
CG.
Yeah, Haley'll never forget that. Chronic,
Because I feel it was.
right? Gonadotrope. Is it tropin?
I thought it was Tropin.
There might be an H there, there might not. You're not supposed to record that one, Mom. I hope they enjoy some humor in that. FSH, follicle stimulating. LH, luteinizing. Remember, one of the most missed questions yesterday on the Jeopardy was probably in males with this. I think somebody might have got it in here. Serotoli cells, correct? That one. Any questions you guys have now of the Mets? So let's go back. I already, whoever's telepathically sending me that. In order for, right, pregnancy to take place, you have to have an egg and a sperm. Everybody agrees, right? There is no egg here. Here is ovulation. We now have an egg. Let me see if I can get rid of some of this stuff here, so we can kind of look. There's ovulation. So we know an egg's got to be there and a sperm's got to be there. So if we're talking fertilization, how long, if you go into your female stars, how long can that egg survive? It should be in your female star. If you took notes on that activity, you should be able to look into there.
24 to 48 hours.
24, 2 to 3 days. Would you agree with 2 to 3 days? Somebody said 2 to 5 in my last one.
1 to 2.
That's not what it is.
That's 24 to 48.
The stars were different.
This is 24 to 46 have different.
And we said sperm can stay alive for 2 to 4, right? So we know that we have about that window in here of 14, anywhere to maybe 18. And that's about it. But remember, we also said sperm could be over here, right? Intercourse could happen on day 13. Those sperm are still alive, so just be careful there. Does everybody understand fertilization? Are you pretty comfortable with that? Now let's talk about one of our more missed ones here. I'm looking at this. Again, don't ruin it for somebody that's not exactly sure what's going on. I'm going to go here. After period's over, shedding's over. We've got we're talking about, we had some visit about some religions don't believe in contraceptives. We said that I've got a cousin, my wife comes from a very religious family, her uncle, aunt, got a kid that's 32 and one that's 5. Holy Heavenly Father. Yeah, crazy, crazy. This would be natural family planning, otherwise sometimes referred to as a rhythm method. FAM, fertility awareness. Turn and tell your neighbor what's going on and what's going on right here. Turn and talk real quick. Hey, turn and tell me, what is 98.6 on 3, 1, 2, 3? Body temperature. The female is taking her temperature before getting out of bed every morning. A slight elevation in body temperature indicates what on 3, 1, 2, 3? Is it always going to be on day 14? Not always. So again, if you're choosing to have kids, you would know that the egg is going to be here. If you're choosing this as a form of birth control, you wouldn't have intercourse during this time. Everybody comfortable with what I'm saying here? That would be natural family. Religion, some religion, no birth, no contraceptive. You guys have any questions? Thompson, that table yours, any questions? Jaden, any questions there? Williams, up front here. Here. Okay. Now let's go back to where are we going from here? And now if you're on the video, we are going to the male labeling. So we're looking at this picture. Why are we looking at this picture? It's almost like a reteach for those of you watching the video. We're going back to a quiz that we've already had, and we're going back to the most missed. And remember, the question that was most missed is at the cellular level. which of the following produces sperm at the cellular level? That's the one that we have to make adjustments on. How long do we have in that film?
We're 15 minutes in.
Ooh, kill that thing.
All right.